Hello, everyone. My name is always Asmal. Welcome to another episode of Tooways to Skin a Cat, a show where we talk career experiences, entrepreneurship, and investments. The main aim is to show that there's more than one way to be successful other than just climbing the corporate ladder. We are live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and the show will be available on podcast by tomorrow morning. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notification bell to get automatically notified when the next episode comes out. If you're joining us live, drop a one in the comments so that we know we're not talking to ourselves, and drop a two in the comments if you're watching the recording. My guest for this week is Kedibone Masango, chartered accountant and senior audit consultant at SAPRO. She also had a long career at the Services SETA. Kedibone, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's jump straight into it. Tell us your story. Where do you come from? And even outside of work, who is Kedibone Masango? Give us a backstory.
Okay, I come from the village in Pumalanga called Tembaletu in Kwandebele. So it's a former Kwandebele, but we just still like calling it Kwandebele. And I studied there really, and then like I have a family. I'm married with three kids. One is 17, the other one is like 6. Yeah, it's gonna turn 7, and the other one is 2 years. So that is a bit about me. Yeah. I don't know, should I continue with the career
Yes,
part or
tell
yeah.
us tell us the career part as well. You gave us the highlights. We want to go a little bit back and tell us.
I matriculated there, and then after that, I went to the former Vista University. It was a black university institution. That's where I started my BCom degree, and after that, I did a short internship with the then Department of Education, and then went to Services SETA, and then decided it was time. Then I went to study full time at the University of Pretoria for about 3 years. Yeah, 3 years full time. Yeah. And then in between, I had my second born. Yeah. Then I did my articles, and here I am now with SAPRO.
Okay, so that was
Mm.
a long gap between the firstborn and the secondborn, but that was
Very
for
long.
studying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I know your background with the services SETA. I mean, I found that very interesting. That probably sets you apart from other CAs who starting when they start the articles, they start fresh. They don't have any experience, and you had a lot more work and life experience. So why did you tell us why you went to the SETA first?
I got the job there. The honest truth is that I couldn't afford to study CA route, because I had siblings who also had to go to school. And you know what? At some point, I just told myself, you know what? Give up, man. It's not going to happen for you. But then the more I give up, the more it punched me even more. And then I decided that I need to come up with a strategy of how I'm going to do this. And if I have to do it, I have to do it with all. So because I'm not going to accept any failure. Obviously, failure is part of life, but I don't want to have excuses and say it was work, it was that. That's why I decided to do it full time, and then raise a little bit of money there and there, and then decided in 2015 that was the year. And then, yeah, I went through with it, starting from second year level.
That's amazing.
Mm.
And tell us maybe like how did that experience at the SETA help you in your CA journey?
Um, it's more like softer skills, like your professional skill, or maybe how you know how to speak to people, knowing that, like when you are studying, most of the time everything is theory, but now when you're working, now you deal with real people, now understanding those people. And also for the fact that I will understand the processes. For instance, that when you create a journal, it just doesn't say debit or credit. Like, for instance, your accounts payable will do something like as if they are capturing something, as if it's a form. But when they press enter, it goes and say debit and credit. So those type of processes, yeah, I believe those help me. Yeah.
Okay, so it does does give you a good leg up on the competition.
Yeah, but it was still tough though, irrespective. Yeah, like there is no exemption. Whether you are older or coming from anywhere, it's still tough. Yeah, doing articles. Yeah, because it's just a lot of work. Yeah.
For the audience, we'll be responding to questions towards the end, so please add your questions to the comment section now so that we don't miss them. So, Kedibone, you seem to be one of the few people with a lot of experience who are working at SAPRO. Lots of people I know and with competitors, they go for a year or two. What keeps you there, and what has your experience at SAPRO been like?
It's the culture, really. It's the culture. Like they take care of me. Like they make me feel very important, which is something that I really appreciate from them. And even most of the pros, I mean, we call ourselves pros here. Most of the pros, when I talk to them, they also talk about like they cite the same thing and say like the culture is very, very much amazing, and you don't feel shy to ask something, and you grow as a result. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm.
can you talk to us a little bit about the different countries where the companies are that you've audited in?
Me, I audited specifically UK and the US. Yeah,
So, so is that your
mainly US.
specialty?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think that I did two secondment with the UK and two secondment with the US, but I dealt mostly with the UK gap. I mean US gap. Yeah.
okay. And
Mm.
is the audit work different from country to country?
No, not really. It's just that when you start initially, you just feel like it's different. Yeah. Like, when you're a trainee, sometimes you wouldn't understand why that manager does that, why that manager does that. But as long as they are doing within the standard, it's not a problem. The preference is just depend with a person to person. For instance, you know how you calculate something, we can have the different calculation, but we come to the same results. So yeah, basically they are more or less similar. Mm.
And personality-wise, are there differences in the way people uh, talk to each other or deal with each other when it comes to the US and UK, or is it very similar to South Africa as well?
I think it will just be a people like so for me, I wouldn't say they are different. It's just gonna be people. They are hard managers. Like hard people in general. And then there are those, yeah, the good one. And maybe some of them, like but mostly with me, with all the secondment that I've been, I got all the support that I needed. In fact, it has been very much amazing. I've learned quite a lot, especially when you learn about the US gap in terms of, like, because you didn't get like that training, you get a lot of training of FRS. And just for you to switch from that FRS to US gap, as much as they are more or less similar, for me, it's amazing. Yeah.
So I'm assuming it makes you more marketable across the world. Am I correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
The
are there
world
big
is getting
differences?
smaller.
Sorry, you were saying?
No, I'm saying the world is getting smaller and smaller. Like, just to imagine for the fact that I'll be working with all these companies, being experienced with their standards at the comfort of my home. Yeah, that is also something that I like about SAPRO, because when I joined them, actually, my son was only 5 months old. I mean, all mothers know out there that it's so hard to leave your child. As much as you've got all the support and you trust the person, but you still like, yeah, you still like don't want to leave them. So that's something that I liked about them, because as for me, I didn't you know what, even with breastfeeding, it was not a trans match for me, because I would breastfeed during my breaks, and yeah.
Okay, that's amazing.
So yeah, it was nice. Mm.
And have you traveled for SAPRO at all, or are you working purely from South Africa?
No, I've been in South Africa, yeah, because
Okay,
currently I can't travel. Yeah, yeah,
okay.
because of my kids. Yeah, I still wanna let them grow a bit. Yeah.
Oh, makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah.
are there big differences between US Corp and IFRS?
No, no, not
Okay.
really. Yeah, not really. Debit is still debit and credit. And yeah, yeah. And also, when you work with the US entities, also the way they do their debit and credit. I mean, now I'm talking about clients, say, for instance, like a company now that I'm auditing. So, I just found that they are more or less similar in terms of their content there, the FD. Yeah. Mm.
Okay.
They behave the similar way as South Africans in terms of audit. So yeah.
And you mean like so? What's next for you? Are there long-term prospects at SAPRO, or is it people? Or is it generally people who look for short and long for short stints of 2 to 3 years?
What do you mean long-term prospect?
So, like I said earlier, a lot of people I noticed they come for a year, they come for 3 months, they come for two
Oh
years.
yes,
Are
yes.
there, are there long-term opportunities in the company that you're working for?
I am permanent right
Okay.
now. Yes, there is long-term opportunities. Um, like myself, when I joined them, because I didn't like audit. I wanted to just join them for 4 months, but I found myself wanting to be part of them now after I joined them because of the culture. So yeah, most of us when we join like with like we just wanna test the water. But then once we get here, we normally say, okay, we actually like this place. Yeah. Mm, mm,
And we've got some questions coming through from the audience, so I'm just going to move over to that.
mm.
We've got a question from Brian who says, um, what's your opinion on the high volume of CAs and trainees moving to the UK?
People's gonna move. There's nothing that we can do, and obviously, for them moving there, it just shows that the quality of the CAs that we get is highly regarded. For me, I feel like it's a good thing because it's a competition. Like what I said, that the world is getting smaller, so we are now becoming one community now rather than being in isolated and say America, US and Europe. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, no, that's good to know. It's good to know. And another question from Brian who wants to know is, how is the UK and US culture different to SA? Or are there no differences? I know you mentioned that. I mean, I know debit is still debit and credit is still credit, but is the culture different?
Uh, it is. I think the difference with the UK is just UK and the US. Their busy seasons is now like January to April, which in South Africa is around July. But as for me, as when I was doing my articles, my busy seasons was right through January to December. So I don't know if that's still the case. And then like when it's not busy seasons, that way you start seeing that people get relaxed and you can perhaps take leave. I don't know, but because when with SAPRO we usually off board during that time. Yeah. But then I did my secondment. Sometimes we do secondment when it's not busy seasons, but they just need us there, so you could feel that it's not so busy. Yeah. So I think that's the main different thing. Yeah. But otherwise it's the same. Yeah.
Okay. And this is one question I like to ask all my guests.
Mm.
What is one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
To go for it. Um yeah, to go for it. Most people, when I started, like when I left my work and then go to university to study, they used to say, you are brave. I'm like, I'm not brave. I just decided to, yeah, to continue and go for it. So for me, that would be the most important piece of advice. And even when things are falling apart, don't stop. Like I like the Johnny Walker um where it says
Keep
keep
walking.
going. Yeah, so hang in there. Yeah. just never stop. It will get better.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
And are there any last few words from you or anything we didn't discuss that you'd like the audience to know?
I think there's a lot, but
Tell us, don't be shy.
no. Okay. So like basically for me, it will be mostly like a piece of advice for people who are like me and who want to do this thing of being a CA, and yeah, and eventually obviously joining SAPRO or any other opportunities that is there. Yeah. For me is to say to them, they just need to plan, and they just know that they just need to know that there's always a way. There's always a way, but it's just depending on how much price are you willing to pay. So basically it says that it's gonna be challenging, but then you're just gonna be willing to pay that price. So do your math, relive your dream, like basically, and then decide to go with it. And in actual sense is very fulfilling to do something like that, because you've been honest to yourself and you're living to your truer self, and you contributing something like what you meant to contribute into the world. Yeah.
It's a couple of good nuggets from this session. Anything else, or is that? I know you said you've got a few, so don't now is not the time to be shy, eh?
No. That will be all. Yeah. Yeah. If anyone needs any advice on anything, they can reach out to me. I'm more interested on those, girls who are, for instance, got pregnant when they are at university or at colleges. They usually think it's the end of the world, because the system is not, it's not done in a way that it will accommodate someone who's just got pregnant when they are at university or at school. But then just telling them that it is possible to do with it, like to continue with the journey and still realize your dream. And now you actually, after you have a baby, you become a better version of yourself, because now you are older, more mature, yeah, to take on the journey ahead. So for me, I will say to them, shoulder on, your baby is a blessing. And then, I mean, after all, you are a woman. We wouldn't have like kings and queens if women didn't give birth to those, right? Yes. And I'll just say to them, shoulder on, and continue with your journey. And then so that your kids will be proud of yourself, and your kids will also draw some strength from your success and also become successful because of that. Because by merely doing that, you are providing a success. Like you don't utter words, but your action utter words and say, do this, and then yeah, that's how you will become successful. Yeah.
I think ending on an inspiring note. The, the show has been live on YouTube and should be available on podcast by tomorrow. If you're watching on YouTube and listening on the podcast and you feel that it's added value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notification bell to get automatically notified when the next episode comes out. Kedibone, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Wiz, and your audience. Yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining us for another episode of Tooways to Skin a Cat. Goodbye.
Okay.